Good evening, and we hope that you do have a good evening, because this is the Arena Blues Night. And as you probably know, the blues has many different forms, very many different styles. There are many different artists in it. We've got most of them on the show tonight. Sonny Boy Williamson, Muddy Waters, Joe Turner there, Billie Holiday, Big Bill Broonzy, Bessie Smith, all great performers. But we're particularly pleased that we've got here with us in the studio to be our guide throughout this blues night. A man who's been called the king of the blues, a man who actually began as a boy picking cotton in Mississippi and now picks his guitar around the concert halls of the world, Mr. B.B. King.
Oh, thank you, John. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me out.
Well, when we were looking through the list of some of the films that we're going to see tonight, there must be a lot of names that you've worked with, or certainly people that you've known in your career.
Oh, yes. 2 or 3 that you mentioned I've known, and one in particular comes to mind is Sonny Boy Williamson. In fact, I got my first break through him. In fact, as you mentioned, when I was on the plantation, I used to hurry in at noon because when we came in for lunch, Sonny Boy would come on at 12:15 from a radio station in Helena, Arkansas. I believe it was called KFFA.
Is that a blues station?
Well, it actually was not a blues station, but they featured, it was a product called King Biscuit Flour, if you will, and it sponsored this program with Sonny Boy, and I think it was about 15 minutes of it, Monday through Fridays. And,
so he was on the radio, and you were still working in the fields?
Still working in the fields, yeah. But when I left, after maybe a couple of years, when I left Mississippi and went to Memphis, then I heard that Sonny Boy Williamson was then on a radio station in West Memphis, Arkansas, which is about 9 miles from Memphis, Tennessee, and I felt like I knew him.
Yeah, well, you've obviously known him many. I just saw him. He came over here, I think, just over 20 years ago, in the 60s, when a lot of blues players coming over. I remember seeing him in the back room of a little club with the then unknown British rock band, The Animals, who were going to be very big. And these white kids were playing away with him, and it was so wonderful to hear somebody really doing the real thing. But of course, he was very important to you, to your career, at one specific time when you were actually an established player.
Yes, because, well, that leads me into this little bit I wanted to tell you about. After coming to Memphis and hearing that he was over in West Memphis on this radio station, I hitchhiked over there, and I found him there, and I begged him to let me do a tune on his show, and he said, "You sure you can do it?" And he was a great big tall fella, man, with a great big nose, you know. And one of those guys that when he'd look at me, I felt like it was a little smaller each time. Anyway, he said yes, and I was so happy that he would let me go on the show.
So he let you go on the show live and just
Yes,
play?
live, right.
Yeah.
And I played a tune, and as fate would have it, the place that he normally played on the 16th Street, or at the 16th Street Grill there in West Memphis, he had another job that was going to pay him, big money comparing to what he was making there. And after I played the tune, he liked it. So he called a lady, her name was Miss Annie, I can't remember what her last name was, of the 16th Street Grill, and he said, "Did you hear the boy on my show?" And she said, "Yes." He said, "Well, I'm sending him there tonight." He didn't ask me. He said, "I'm sending him there tonight to play, and if that's all right with you." And she said, "Yes." And that was my first break.
So he gave you your first break, but he took the most money.
Oh, yeah.
Well, here he is now, Sonny Boy Williamson.
wanna know what's gonna happen to you, darling, when I'm gone. I wonder what's gonna happen, baby, to you when I'm gone. Because you ain't making enough money to keep the business going on. Tell me, baby, what in the world am I to do? Tell me, baby, what in the world am I to do? I know I got to leave you, darling. Who in the world gonna take care of you? Hello, well, we're going into it now. Hey. Oh, no. Yeah. Oh, no. But... darling, so come on in this house. You know it's raining outdoors, baby. Come on in this house. Because you know if you get wet, that's gonna cause a doctor bill with ambulance fund. You my baby, and I don't want my child to get wet. Boy, you know you my baby, and I don't want my child to get wet. I know it's a doctor bill, but I'll take care of it until the day of death. All right. I tried to fetch religion, but you wouldn't even let me pray. I want to refresh religion, but woman, you know you won't let me pray. If you don't be mighty careful, the devil gonna get you one day. was sad. That's when we lost the best president we had. Going home, going back home, 'cause I stayed way too long. He went from town to town, putting up a right. After losing life, he left a sample to carry on. He told Johnson, this is mine, this is a carry on. You know the young boy died very young, but Johnson is carrying on. I'm going home, I'm going back home, 'cause I've been away too long. Mrs. Kennedy was out on the beat, and the whale and fishes was arguing over the cheat. I'm going home, going back home, 'cause I stayed away too long. Have you enjoyed my play? I enjoyed the stay. Have you enjoyed my play? I still have enjoyed the stay. This is just a TV show, and I'm glad I made it over. Oh, this is a TV show, and I'm glad I made it over. All of my friends close to me and brothers.
Sonny Boy Williamson there, glad he made it over to be on TV. I should imagine that was fairly heartfelt about being glad to be on TV. I mean, 20 years ago, would a guy like that have been on national TV in America?
No, not hardly. I think the first that I ever saw on national TV of that kind was Brown and McGee and Sonny Terry, and that was simply because I believe Harry Belafonte at that time had a great special going on, and he used, had it not been him, I don't think anybody else would have at that time.
Yeah, and they were more sort of entertainers anyway, weren't
yes,
they?
right,
That
right.
sort of thing. But I mean, despite the little bit of showbiz, the hat and all that sort of thing when he was over here, getting back to the feel of the blues, I should imagine that sound that Sonny Boy Williamson made was pretty much like the original sound of the blues as we understand
That was it.
it.
That was it. Oh, baby, that was it, yeah.
That's the feel of the blues, the spirit of the blues, but on a practical level, the subject matter of the blues, does it really almost always have to be hard times?
Well, yes, that's the origin. That's how it actually started, from hard times. People, I can give you a little bit more on that, if you will. People used to be in the fields. We'd be out maybe chopping cotton, and maybe a guy had a bad night last night, especially if he was a gambler and lost all his money. Come home, and his lady's angry with him. A lot of times, maybe even put him out. And he would holler the blues, hey, I come home last night, and my baby was mad as she could be, you know, something like that. And generally, not realizing, a lot of other people had the same feeling, same thing had happened to them. Someone had hurt you one way or the other. I don't mean physically, but mentally hurt you. Like ladies sometimes would seem to go with the guy that had the money. Other times maybe you have sickness in the family and you don't know who to go to. You can't get the money. For a lot of times the boss man, when you figure that he should loan you some money, he would not. Your crops was bad this year. It was many things that would cause you to hurt.
Obviously, the blues as a feeling has been so important in 20th century popular music. Is it style? Is that what we're saying the blues is?
I think it is. I think it's a certain style. Now, some have said, John, that, well, for instance, if you mention, shall we say, the Delta blues, the urban blues, the Chicago blues, the Memphis blues, and you could go on with blues, blues, blues. But then you had, I think, more of the individual, like the Blind Lemon Jefferson, like Muddy Waters, like Lightning Hopkins, people like this, or John Lee Hooker.
Sure.
Many of these were, to me, creators of the continuing blues that was started long before, shall we say, people that we know that are popular today.